Hello, this is the backend demo for Project Lucien, the smart traffic system. Everything's running on Azure as outlined in the project guidelines, and then everything we have runs inside of this resource group, which we titled Smart Traffic RG. And here we have digital twins, function apps, storage, machine learning, architecture, application insights, etc. So I'll go ahead and highlight our architecture, our traffic ingestion pipeline, and how our timer functions are collecting real data, and how we store those history snapshots for analytics. So I'll start with our digital twins model. So currently we are using this model. I'll show you in our code. So this one, it defines fields for our real-time traffic, like our average speed, volume, congestion index, predicted average speed, predicted congestion index. We're also getting live incident data, so that's also being in the contents of this. So basically this model is acting as our target for where our live data will go once the mappings are set up. However, right now, that's an error that we're getting, so we're trying to debug it. It's obviously new concept, so debugging is taking a little longer than it usually would for a project with us, but we're getting there. And that's one of the last things we have to do before getting our machine learning to create our road degradation predictions. But yeah, for now we are still working, like we have our sample data in here that we already showed you. And it has all of those attributes that I mentioned. So at one point we were getting data ingested into here automatically, and then at another point it started failing once we started using live data. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now. Next I'll go over our storage. So all of the incoming traffic and incident data plus our predictions are getting stored inside of the blob storage. So we have a lot of containers, but the main ones that we're using for now are this raw and history. I'll show you our raw. This is hosting our predictions CSV, which you can see it's representing all of the outputs from our machine learning model, which we have yet to get running, but like I said, we're trying to get the digital twins error fixed before we implement the machine learning, because the machine learning should be one of the easier aspects of the project. We also have this history folder, and this is where we're getting our traffic history snapshots, and they're automatically archived in here. So like I said, they're on 5-minute intervals, constantly getting exported into here. And then that other container that I mentioned, this is also history, but this one is for the incidents, which we have another timer function that catches incidents, like highway incidents, crashes. So yeah, these are getting stored on 10-minute intervals instead of 5, because it's not as, tricky. So yeah, I guess I'll show you our functions next. So like I said, we have our timer functions. We have the fetch DOT traffic and our fetch incidents. And then I'll go ahead and test these to show that they're working properly. It says accepted. Should pop up. I'll run it again. Yeah. So as you can see, succeeded. So this is what's getting those snapshots into our blob storage for us, and they were running automatically, as you saw. And then we also have our incidents, which I'll go ahead and run for you as well. Also accepted. And yeah, succeeded. So those are our timer functions. It's like the biggest accomplishment I'd say that we've had is actually somehow getting live data exported into our backends, which is something that we were really aiming to do. And then we also have this list segments function, which I'll go ahead and show you our HTTP output for that. There we go. But yeah, as you can see, this is showing the 3 segments that actually are in our digital twins. So these are HTTP APIs for, it could be used by the front end team. However, if time allows, we'd love to do a little bit of a more structured endpoint for them and more specific ones as well, because right now it's just getting all of this, but you know, that's one of the easier tasks is getting that set up for them. But yeah, that just shows all the segments that are currently inside of our digital twins model. And like I said, that's the one error that we're trying to fix at the moment. And because we haven't really set up our machine learning because of that blocker, this one will give us an error message if I try to run it. But yeah. Once we have the machine learning set up, though, it should work. We just have to get our live data put into our digital twins for the machine learning to actually make predictions. And then this is a function that we had, and it uploads our predictions as well. So I'll go ahead and show if it wants to load. So yeah, this one does all of our ingestion, and I had those 10 segments in our predictions.csv file, so that one is showing those. So basically, we have our digital twins model for our road segments in a prediction pipeline with our data. We have our timer functions that run every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then that's automating our archive of our traffic and incident data. So, and then we also have the HTTP APIs for now, which are acting as a placeholder for something a little more structured later on. So, yeah, basically our next step is to connect our archive of live data to our digital twins in order to get our architecture like fully running and operational. And then from there, we just have to make our predictions on the road degradation with our machine learning, which shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, that's what we have for now. And by our final presentation, I should say we will have all of our bugs figured out because we've had a lot more time off this week to actually be able to dedicate time to it. And yeah, it should be smooth running from here.